Sure.
Off of my house. All right.
Hey Circuit Riders, welcome back. So last week we left off in Ashtabula, Ohio. We kind of finished our third circuit. We were heading to Pennsylvania to visit my family for a week. Well, if you've followed us on social media over the past couple of months, you know that after we left Pennsylvania, our RV had a major breakdown. The supports that held the suspension system together broke off. We were stranded overnight in Connecticut. So here is a video to tell you everything that happened and how we got that fixed. Oh, we had a great weekend in Lancaster with my family and our kids. It was so great to see everybody together for the weekend. And now we are heading over for a quick overnight at our dealership, Stoltzfus RV in Westchester, PA, because we're going to get some work done on the RV. And we love that Stoltzfus has this little parking lot with an electric hookup where you can come the night before and just be ready to go first thing in the morning for them to get in and do some work. And we're going to have those warped J panels on the back of our rig replaced, and I don't know, maybe some other little things, but hopefully they'll be able to do this J panels right this time. Last year they tried to fix them and it didn't work, and so we had to order new panels. But I'm so grateful that we come through here at least once a year, usually twice a year, so that we can stop at our dealership and they can take care of it right here. We don't have to find someplace on the road. So we spent pretty much all day here at the RV dealership, but the J panels look great on the back here. They've replaced these whole panels on both sides. If you remember, they were buckling pretty bad back here. So hopefully second time's a charm. So it's 3 p.m. We've got about a 5-hour drive to Connecticut for our next stop on our whirlwind tour. We're going to spend the next 2 nights at a casino in Connecticut, get some things done around there with our kids, and then we'll be off to Cape Cod for a month. Can't wait to get settled and in one place for a while.
This open and sides open. Find out what's going on. I can smell it.
Oh man, it has been a long day already, and it's just, the sun has just set. We've driven from Pennsylvania through New York into Connecticut, and we are having to do some emergency repair. So we were driving along the highway, and a couple times some people tooted their horn at us, and we didn't know why. We looked in our mirrors to see if there was anything flapping or, you know, whatever loose, and we didn't see anything, and they just kind of drove on by and went away. So we thought, well, they must have been honking at somebody else. That happened a couple of times. And then just here in Connecticut on 95, which is a long, fast interstate, we've been driving on it for probably an hour and a half. A couple of people really laid on their horns and got up beside us. And so we looked out the mirror again, what's going on, what's going on? And I was driving and I saw smoke coming out the back end of the RV. But not flames, not fire or anything, but something was smoking. So I immediately pulled over to the side of the highway in a safe place. And we got out, and it looked almost like the tire was flaking and disintegrating, but I think what it actually is there's some piece of rubber up underneath the slide that is rubbing against the tire, and that's what's smoking. We don't think that the tires themselves are damaged, but there's something there that's causing friction and smoke. So we've pulled into a truck stop gas station, which we were coming to anyway to get gas. So we already had this stop planned. We were only a few miles away. So we're just going to put the slides out and see. Now, when we were at Stoltzfus today, they did take this slide out because they replaced our slide topper. And I don't know what they could have done, if anything, to make the underside of the slide, you know, damaged. But we're going to put our slides out and see what we can find. Ugh. That didn't sound good.
You hear that?
Something fell, yeah.
So I stopped. Look, so that don't lean on the ground.
I'm not.
So this is a rubber piece that's off, and it's been rubbing the tire there.
Yeah. Oh, you can see this tire. It's about to fall apart.
That's because this rubber piece up here is hitting it.
So the update is, as far as we can tell, our back axle is broken or dislodged or something, and the whole back of the RV has fallen down onto the tires. So now we are looking for a place to park at this truck stop to stay overnight. It is really lucky that we made it to this truck stop, because if we were on the side of the road, I don't know what we would do. We'd be calling a tow truck at midnight. So the TA service guy that has the shop here, the truck service guy, said we could just pull into any truck spot and stay overnight. It was fine with him if we stayed here. And one person on the end here is just leaving, luckily. It is a handicap spot, but I don't know what else to do. We're just gonna have to park in there and call service in the morning. Luck, I'm glad we don't have anywhere we need to be. Goodness. So Jason's under here looking, and at first we thought maybe the axle was broken because the whole back of the RV is down, but now it looks like the leaf springs are broken, and the leaf springs are what kind of hold the U-bolts and the axles and suspension and everything in there. And though I know that those can break. So are they broken on both sides? Just one?
Yeah, it's where the leaf spring attaches. No, I didn't think the axle itself was broken. Just that somehow, basically what I'm seeing here was a version of what I thought. That stinks.
I don't know if you can see how unlevel this RV is, but the bottom is just hanging down. It's so unlevel. The whole bottom is, the back side is just collapsed. So since we're stuck here overnight anyway, Jason had a good idea to try to, we're gonna unhook the truck from the RV so that we can put the jacks down, because the jacks will raise the RV up. And if we can get some pressure off of these tires back here, we might be able to get our slides in and out easier without them catching. Right now they're just catching and they won't go all the way in and out because they're sitting on those tires.
Oh look, the slide went in. Look.
No.
Yes, it did.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
no, it
I
did.
do. I see. It's over here.
So
it did go in. So whatever was caught on released.
Yeah. All right, and the tires are still touching, but I've got this kind of jacked up in the air.
Well, we're parked in the truck stop for the night. I have no idea what's going to happen. Stay tuned. So at this point, we have limped the RV over to an RV repair shop that our insurance company recommended to us. They were wonderful. They were only a few miles from the truck stop where we broke down. So as I said, no towing company was willing to take us on, and the insurance company said, you got to get it there however you can get it there. So we hooked it up to the truck, and we went very slowly down I-95 the whole way, and we got it into this repair place, which was wonderful. Now, initially, they had estimated maybe a week or two to finish these repairs. It ended up taking 4 full weeks to do this work on the suspension system and the back end. So over the course of that 4 weeks, we stayed in 3 different hotels, and we ended up staying on our daughter's couch in north of Boston for a week. The insurance company only covered the hotel cost for as long as the insurance covered repairs took to fix. But not all of the repairs on the RV were covered by insurance. Some of them were under a warranty with Vanleigh, and Lippert actually stepped in to cover the welding portion of the repairs. So the hotel was not covered for the entire stay, and that's why we ended up at Brent's house, which was lovely. We loved spending extra time with them and getting to visit with her and James for a week and do some wedding planning and get a lot of stuff done. Now, also during this time, Jason had a trip away to Canada, so I was in a hotel just working for about a week by myself, which was fine, but, you know, that was an unusual circumstance. And the reason we hopped around to 3 different hotels was because we wanted to accomplish different things during this month. We were a little bit closer to Jaron for 1 week, and then we moved a little closer to Bryn and James, and we wanted to be in proximity to Providence, where Jason has some work contacts, so we just kind of hopped around as we needed to. We had plenty of money in our insurance coverage to cover moving to different hotels, so we wanted to take advantage of that.
This unit shifted 4 to 6 inches back and forth.
You had someone following you that could see that?
I was following.
Gotcha.
So what we did is we stopped it from doing it. Look underneath here. See, we've put angle up here, movement up into the wall there.
Nice.
We use bars, we push this thing in, and we put screws in there. You can't go down the road with it doing that, or you're gonna lose the back end of this thing.
Yeah, well, it's what kept, you know, this was a symptom of that.
So this bar across is what you're showing?
This angle,
okay.
That angle.
All right.
That just gives you something to tie them together well.
That bar right there, that was there, that's holding your vapor barrier up.
Okay.
Perfect. Nice.
Now you have a suspension system that'll handle this thing. You can't break these eyelets off this thing.
Perfect.
Okay, it's over-engineered.
It's obviously beefier.
I knew it was over-engineered, but it's not the time to play with it.
No,
We got one shot. We got one shot at welding onto that frame.
Yeah, let's make it a 20-year solution instead of a 2-year
That's right.
solution.
The biggest part of this was building these hangers.
Yeah.
That was 3 nights working outside with a welder.
I really like how this looks.
You can't wear it out. We put never fail bushings in underneath your bolts.
So that's new springs as well as the...
No, these are your springs. There was nothing wrong with your springs.
Oh, okay.
Although they were crooked, there's only one bolt in the center of them. That's the only thing that holds them there.
So it was way under-engineered for...
Lippert
weight.
even admitted that to me.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you said when the guy called you.
He goes, we ought to be building all of them like this.
Yeah.
You know? And if I built this thing, this tube I put on here, that 2x3 tube, I actually would have tied it into the other frame as well, because you got a double frame right there.
Yeah, because they do a drop frame and all that stuff.
Yep. This is where the spring actually wore through
punched up
the bottom of the wall.
Right.
This is the heavy side with the kitchen weight.
And this is where it is right there. You can feel the screws that were put in it. What we did is we sandwiched that with L channel.
Okay.
It ain't going anywhere. It's probably stronger now than it was.
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
sure it is.
Thanks for doing good work.
We're so grateful that you were able to fix this
Well, it's
for
okay.
permanently.
Well, nobody can tell me yet what the alternative was.
Yeah.
A clue.
And the 2 back tires are the ones that are new, or
The back tires are new. I
Okay.
put them on the back because they were harder than the front ones.
All right.
Well,
But I had to stop her from moving.
Yep. A little too much sway.
All right.
I
Is it
couldn't
a...
believe it. That thing shifted 4 inches. That's hard on equipment.
Well, we told you this has been done 2 or 3 times.
That's the second time.
And we didn't even, we probably were barely out of the driveway of the dealership when these popped out and then caught and then crimped. And,
Oh yeah.
All right.
Any bump. Any bump.
Putting the slides out while we're still here at the repair place, just to check the repairs underneath the slides and make sure everything's working correctly.
But that's where this punched up through.
Right. I see.
It probably scraped on the other side, and wouldn't surprise me. But
Okay, but they haven't...
because remember, this is the heavy side for all the kitchen is heavier. The kitchen's heavier, so that's why this side hung lower, and it's also where it was able to punch up through more and do a little more damage to the flooring there, which is fine. They fixed all that.
Yeah, so actually nothing was wrong with the leaf spring.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. How did the spring come loose?
You're starting at the wrong premise.
Okay.
These attachment points, this attachment point broke off. So what
attachment point are you talking about? Oh, I see. Okay.
This broke off.
Okay.
They've now replaced all of the infrastructure there. It's a whole new infrastructure for this to attach to.
To hold the suspension.
Yeah. Like this was still attached, that was still attached. However, they've built a whole new.
I see.
Here, look at my hand.
Okay.
All of this tubular piece here, and these. What's the term?
Gussets.
Gussets, I believe. Whatever. These support pieces here, they built that all. welded it together, and then came and welded it in place and put some other supports. You'll see how there's extra supports here, tying it together. So that's all new infrastructure on both sides, identical. The leaf spring, the Equiflex, that wasn't damaged.
Okay.
It just had detached at its attachment point in the very, very back.
Got it.
And that, no, if the whole thing had failed, we would have been immovable.
So this new welded piece is what will keep the back of the RV from swaying?
No.
Oh, okay. What does that?
They put an L angle iron piece that helped tie together the floor back end of the RV to the base. Basically, that was able to just float over that, and now they've tied them together so it doesn't float.
Okay.
It doesn't swing 4 to 6 inches.
And that's what's underneath the...
Yeah, you come back there and I'll point to it.
Okay.
So this L bracket is tied into the frame down here, but then you see all these bolts looking up. That's what's tying this. So that L bracket has grabbed this tail end and then tied it into the base.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Great.
So now this can't sway. It's where before it was free floating. You mean not like it was on a pivot, but it had a big tail end. You know, his opinion, which I agree with. This wasn't engineered strong enough for how much weight and movement this would have. Like this is a heavy rig, and so the attachment points weren't, no fail strong, and the tail end had the ability to sway a little bit, which if it was a shorter rig, a lighter rig, that may have been within tolerance, but it's swaying when you go down the road, then makes this stuff flex out and catch, but also kind of makes the RV maybe not track as well when it's going down the road. But so those two things together really improve this, is the expectation.
And you also mentioned that we thought that we were going to mitigate some of this by upgrading our axles when we bought the RV.
No, more so it was by adding 2,000 extra pounds of capacity, even more so would strain the infrastructure. But even if that hadn't been done, because it's not like we filled it, we still had we had almost all that 2,000 left over. Actually, I think we had about 2,500 left over, so we were still under the 16,000. If we'd had the 7K axles, we were already a little bit under that. We're well under the 18,000 that our two 8K axles give us. So what I was saying is, this just even more so before wasn't sufficient for that capacity. Like you can't say it has that capacity and then not really have the the infrastructure to support it, especially when it's just hauling down the road, bumping around, moving, wiggling.
Okay, so we have gotten the report of everything that was done, and we feel really good about what they've done here at Good Times RV. I just want to give them a shout out. They had to keep it longer than we initially expected, but we are so glad to have all of this work done, and this is going to be a permanent repair that should last for years and keep that
really
back from swaying.
Yeah, other stuff will break long before that does. And you hear a lot of horror stories, but also just annoying, aggravating stories like in that range from folks. And I gotta say, our dealership, the insurance adjuster, who was a local guy that knew these folks, everyone wasn't just professional and did their job. They were just very helpful. They were really understanding. They got that we were full-timers. They were very clear in communication, like, hey, sorry, the way this looks, this part can't cover it. However, your manufacturer should be responsible.
Right, so the insurance
all
company
of that worked together well.
Only covered part of the repairs. The welding and the manufacturing of the frame things were actually covered by Lippert.
Yeah.
Our repair guy here at Good Times contacted them, explained the situation. They initially said that we might have to take this down to the Vanleigh repair facility in Mississippi, and we said, we're in Connecticut, dude, that's not going to work. So they worked with us here to cover that welding and make sure that our rig was sound. I think altogether we're going to be out of this for less than $1,000, which is great. And we are ready to be back in our home after a month in hotels and at James and Bryn's house. We loved being able to spend extra time with them, but we are ready to be back on the road. So thankfully we were able to get everything repaired. The RV actually came out better than it was new. The back end is shored up now and the suspension is rock solid. So we are so happy that these repairs got done. Now as for those J panels on the back, we are going to go back to our dealership in Pennsylvania again this fall in October to have them replace those panels for the second time. Now that all of these shaking and swaying issues have been resolved, the J panels should not buckle again. And we're going to hopefully get that fixed. So after we left Connecticut, we headed up to New Hampshire just for the weekend to kind of regroup, get settled, do some final things in Boston, and then we're heading up to our mainland. Now, over this month, we were supposed to have been at a Thousand Trails Campground in Cape Cod, where we stayed many times before. And during that month, we were going to have all of the solar installed on the top of the RV. We were going to get all of our well pump stuff ready to go so that when we arrived at the land, we could just plug and play and everything would be ready to go. The sewer system was supposed to have been already installed by the time we got up there. Well, we didn't know what the state of the RV was going to be when we got it back. We didn't know if we were going to be able to move back into it. Would we have to sell it? Is it going to be scrapped? We didn't know. So we didn't want to invest in solar and well pump and all of these things until we found out. So we arrived in northern Maine with not much done, and the septic system was not installed because of some planning issues that went on. So next week, we're going to show you what happened when we arrived at our land in northern Maine, which is where we are right now, and we're going to do some other fun trips up in northern Maine and Canada this summer. So until then, I hope you have a great week. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.